Good morning and welcome to Unlocking Freedom in Nature and Art. It's great to see you here today and thanks for being here. Good morning, Lori, and good morning, Kelly.
Good morning.
How are you? Or greetings wherever you're watching. I always think of all those that are out of the US or watch the recording. We are always happy to be here on our Tuesday talks, Unlocking Freedom in Nature, where we want you to discover, experience, and transform as you go outside and enjoy nature. Open your window, go to your backyard, go to your front yard. It doesn't matter as long as you experience nature. We want you to discover, experience, and transform the joy of that. Tammy loves nature, right? And we have
Oh, I do. And it's like we've had like my granddaughter said, we have Bambi in our yard. We have the Bambi story because it's like I look out the window and there's turkeys walking. And what's funny is the doe and her little baby are with the little spots, Bambi, are like walking with the turkeys in a loop around our yard. But they live here. So it's amazing all the different animals. And when you just sit there and watch them, it's kind of like we were yesterday on our nature walk. We were looking out over a lake, and there's this three ducks, and they're swimming, and the one's in the lead, and there's two behind, and the other two kind of start squirreling, we'll call it, and then all of a sudden the first one stops, and he waits, and it waits until the other ones catch up. So it's sweet when you even see in nature the kindness, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
and we instead of, I know there's people that are known by they love people watching at airports, at malls, and things like that. We want you to become a nature watching person instead.
Yes. I totally agree. I was thinking about that yesterday, Lori. I was like, if people just spent as much time outside watching nature, they would realize all the effects and everything and how important trees are and plants and bees, all these little things if they actually just got outside and listened
Yeah.
and smelled, use your senses. It's like last night I went down to our gardens and the northern lights were trying to peek through and you could hear the crickets and the stars were shining so bright. I mean, it was just absolutely beautiful. And if you notice, the day before, so many people in the Northwest up here in Idaho caught beautiful sunset pictures. It was just such bright oranges and corals and pinks. So, and I'm excited. We're going to welcome Kelly here today.
She
Glad to
is
be here.
definitely a nature lover too, and we want to hear all about it. We've known each other, and she's from Texas. Usually Tammy has people from Idaho. Now I have Kelly from Texas. And we're happy to have her. She has an amazing story, and Tammy likes to start with a question.
So my question for you, Kelly, is I just want to know your story, where you grew up, a little bit about you, where you're at right now. So we want to hear what your journey that led you to where you are today. And we
Okay.
might interrupt for the questions and we want ask our guests, go ahead and ask questions and we'll ask Kelly. So we are excited to hear your story here, Kelly.
All right. Well, I was born and raised in Dallas, and I went to undergrad at Vanderbilt University in Nashville, and then I went to law school at Texas Tech, and that's in Lubbock. And then I spent about 9 years in Houston and then came back. And I've been back in this area since my mom was widowed. We just decided she needed family support here, so we came back to be that for her. And I practiced law for most of my career. And then I decided that it wasn't exactly what was meant for me. It wasn't where my passion is.
So I
So
have a quick question. Why did you do law school?
I did law school.
What made you think that you wanted to be a lawyer?
I had a lot of family input, especially from my mom and dad, and that was an expectation. My brother was to go to medical school, and I was to go to law school. My dad was a lawyer, and he wanted me to join his practice. And my real interest in college was psychology. I was a psychology major. I was an English major. And I really was pulled in that direction. I was asked by one of our head professors at Vanderbilt to join the psychology graduate department there. And I turned that down because I wanted to do what I thought my family wanted me to do.
Which is
Same
always
here.
hard. It's so harsh and hard. And again, our parents have some knowledge. They know who we are. They can see our potential. But then, like some of our guests have said, and Christine last week, like when we listen to our own voice, it's so important too. But you know
Mhm.
what? Everything happens for a reason. Every knowledge that you gain, I'm sure this is gonna help. This is helping you with what you're doing now.
Well, and
True.
it's what's interesting is how many times parents, as a parent, we always have the best interest of our kids, but sometimes we don't listen to what they want. We can see a lot of their talents, right? And what they're good at, and we might have those wants and wishes. But I think it's so important for, as a parent, we stand back and we let them help figure out their own values, what they want, where they want to live, how many hours a week they want to really work, who they want to work with. I think that's so important. And I think that's kind of what you just spoke about, because I know we have a lot of people graduating. You just mentioned Kelly has a senior, it's like, okay, how are we going to do this? So go on.
Go on. Well, I told my kids from the day one that whatever they wanted to do, I wanted to support them. And I wanted them to be the ones to pick. And I have tried to provide them with tools. Like when my daughter has been interested in a certain line of work, we've done some research on that together. And just to see if that's going to be a fit for her. But it is. It is so important to listen to what our children really, really want out of life and guide them in that direction.
Yes, and how about you, Kelly? Like, were you a happy attorney, or did you give it your best, or were you kind of frustrated most of the time, or how was that for you?
I absolutely gave it my best. And there were years when I enjoyed it. There were parts of it I enjoyed about it, even at the end. But it wasn't something at any point in time that I thought I would have picked out for myself.
That is almost heroic. Like maybe like honoring them so much, right? Like
Mhm.
it was it the pressure? Was it just because that you respected them so much and you're like, okay, I better do this? Or how did that play out? Did you ever tell them like this is not where my heart is?
I told them I was very interested in psychology and I just respected them so much. I thought that I should do what they wanted me to do.
I totally get it. I've seen people do that a lot, you know.
And that's very nice and that's very honorable. And then what happened? What helped you pivot or make the change?
I just got really, really tired and really it was a sad experience and there was a lot of anger involved in it and I was not giving them tools to move forward. I was giving them divorce decrees, or they were in the midst of turmoil, emotional turmoil over child custody or support that they weren't getting and not being able to support their kids the way they wanted to. And it was just it was not as optimistic a career as I wanted to be involved with. I wanted to be of service to people, of course, but I decided I wanted to be of service to people in a different way. And um, I just had a revelation, I guess is the best way of putting it, that I wasn't getting any younger. And if I wanted to do what I really set my heart on when I was younger, I needed to go ahead and do it now.
It's
Oh,
interesting because there's some people that choose that career path out of their own desire, and
Hmm.
then something slaps them in the face when they see the reality of it, right? And
Hmm.
then they decide to shift anyways, and life goes on for them. Whether they decide to stay or they decide to shift. But it's
Hmm.
interesting how people wanting that sometimes get a reality check of what they envision is not what happens to them, and it's worse and they don't like it, but you went in it already
yeah.
Hmm.
with some resistance, and then to have already exercised and done it, And still, the results of what you were doing were kind of devastating news for what was happening in the families, and you were helping them accomplish those things. But
Mhm.
how sad that was that on top of your anger, you also were, it was kind of like a double whammy, right? Like double the sadness or the anger, the, I don't even know if to say resentment. You haven't used that word. I'm
Mhm.
the one bringing it up, but and then
But
now.
you would have resentment, because you'd be like, why did I choose this? I know that I've been offered jobs, and then the more you research them, I was like, nope, I don't care about the money. I don't want it because we all have because it depends on our values and our personalities. Sometimes, some people can handle that kind of stuff. I could never because I'd probably be crying every time.
It was
Like you said,
tough.
you want to be helpful, and I bet you were awesome in the courtroom. But then at the same time, you're going, okay, how can I help this person to get here? You see the kids that are devastated, because divorce is messy. And anytime you have to go to court, it is so, so stressful for the
Mhm.
families. And a lot of times they'll take even that anger out on you
Mhm.
or the other person will, and you're just trying to be the kind of a mediator and help your clients get through it and get the best, of course, for your client. But I couldn't imagine that kind of stress.
Well, I found that I was doing the legal counseling plus I was doing the personal counseling with the parents. And the parents were coming to me not only with their own issues. For example, let's say I was representing a wife, and at the same time she realized she didn't want her marriage, she realized she wasn't happy with her career choice. And or either that or the job, or she just wasn't happy personally, and she wasn't sure if it was a combination of those factors, if she needed to change jobs, what she needed to do to be a better parent, co-parenting with a spouse and what that looks like in the future, an ex-spouse, and what that looks like in the future. So there was so much personal counseling going on with it. And even post-divorce, that was true. I mean, I got a call just the other day from a client I represented a couple of years ago who was having an issue with her daughter. And she wanted to know from me what I thought would be the best course of action for her to take. So it was a very natural transition for me.
Okay, so then what is it that you're doing now? Tell our audience
Uh,
what was the transition.
I am now doing life coaching for girls, for women, and for parents.
I love it. I
So,
love
so
it.
what, so what was the thing that got you though from being a lawyer to where you are? What happened in this in between stage that you're like, okay, I've had enough.
I actually was in a very bad accident, and the recovery period was quite a long time. And I had to close my law practice during that time because I could not, I had to find other lawyers for my cases. And during that time, there was a lull, and that gave me time to think about where I am, what I'm doing, my life, how short it can be, how quickly it can be taken. And it made me think about what my priorities and my passions are, where my interests and aptitudes were, where my gaps were. And I just decided that this is where I needed to be.
So was that a car accident? If you don't mind me asking,
It
or
it was I was on a scooter, but it went about 40 miles an hour, and I was well. I thank goodness I had stopped at one side of the road, and I was crossing it in the crosswalk. And instead of going through the little dip area where it goes straight into the sidewalk, the trees were blocking the light, so the shade made it where I couldn't see where the curb was, and I hit the curb straight on, and it caused some really bad, some head injury, and I had to have I have a plate here and a plate here, and bunches of different work I've had to do to
oh,
get better.
well, you just never know. A simple fall can kill you, and
Yeah.
people don't realize it. It's the simplest thing that you could go and fall 100 times and not nothing, but if you go and crash that one time,
Right.
it can. It's horrible, that's why I was asking,
Hmm.
because you see so many people running red lights and different things up here lately.
Hmm.
So that's why I was at. I'm sorry. That's sounds very painful. So
So
It
at what
was.
point in that journey, at what point in that recover, you were recovering, you're like, aha, this is my opportunity, or you're like, okay, life is fragile. Like I need to evaluate how I'm gonna leave it the rest
And
of
it
my
sounded like
life,
you had
or
lots of anxiety you were dealing with, stress, all kinds of stuff.
Absolutely. Yes, the stress had gotten to where it was just almost unbearable and it was affecting me in all of the different parts of my life. And so, I mean, it was immediately when I took a step back. It was very shortly after the accident, and I took a month of like I couldn't drive and stuff like that, and it gave me a good bit of time, and it was during that particular time that my eyes opened.
wonderful, wonderful, Kelly. And it's so sad though that sometimes these things need to happen for us to think about
Well,
how
you meant, and you mentioned something about going on in nature for a
yes.
lot of this that helped to change your path. So we were interested in that for our audience.
Yes.
Of course, yes. I found and always have found a great deal of solace in nature, peace, God. You know, the divine is there, and I had all my life. I had relied on nature and being outside in order to deal with all the stresses life brought me. And I mean, I like hiking. I love the mountains. I love the beach. There's a place in Virginia I love to go that's a mile from the Shenandoah River. There's a lake right there for fishing. There's walking. There are deer and bunny rabbits that are crossing the road, and they'll have their babies with them, and they'll be in the back and the front yards, and there are foxes and just all kinds of stuff to do. And there's pretty much very little that I don't like that's outside. Snow skiing, regular skiing, anything to get me out and about. And I do love the water. I love listening to the birds. I love hearing all the noises. I love the smells of being outside, the flowers and the trees and the green, and looking up at the sky and seeing how beautiful the blue is, and watching those sunrises and those sunsets, and just finding the calm that's in it, all of that, and the healing that's in all of that.
Oh,
You you have
I was going to just real quick here. One of my favorite memories, because I have been to the Shenandoah mountain forests and stuff in there. A friend of mine lived back there and we rode horseback all day long. It was just through because she knew all the farms and
Hmm.
ranches and stuff.
Hmm.
And we just rode miles. It was so much fun. And if you've never been on a horseback ride, to me, I love it because it's another one of those ways to escape and
Yeah.
enjoy nature and just have fun. You
Yeah,
know,
I've ridden horses. I rode all the time when I was young, and then my daughter has ridden as a child, and I have joined her in lessons or just going on, uh, just walking around the farm. And you're absolutely right. There's a place there that is definitely restorative.
so
oh, it
you
is.
have
And now
you,
Lori,
yeah,
I'm
you
going to
have
interrupt
children
you.
too,
Sorry about
Kelly.
that.
Yeah, you have children too, Kelly, and I want to know how have you made them part of this journey? How have you been able to enjoy nature with them?
Oh, we've done all kinds of things. As often as I could take them with me, I have taken them with me. And the places that I have told you about that I have been myself, I've taken my kids to those places too. And the bond that you get to grow and the strength that it brings to the relationships and the health it brings to the family dynamic, the individual strength it brings to the people in there, it's been magical for my family.
Wonderful. Do you have a favorite memory, a favorite spot?
I would have to say that my favorite spot is Virginia, and I love to take my kids up there. I take them up there sometimes for Christmas when the snow is all over the place, and we get out there and we scoop the snow out of the driveway and up and down the sidewalk that goes to the driveway at their house, and there are horses up there to ride that a friend of mine has available to her through a very dear friend of hers. We've done that. We've driven through the Christmas lights. We put the windows down as much as we can stand the cold. And I've taken them fishing before. I have taken them on hikes. I've taken them to the mountains. I have taken them skiing at the mountains. I have taken them to lakes. We've done sailing and other kinds of boating. Just anything you can think of. Horseback riding. We got to do that in Colorado on a high plain. And it was hours of riding horses. And the joy that you get out of that, that you can share as a family, the memories, and what it does instantly to your connection with your kids and your spouse is wonderful.
That's so funny. I was just laughing because I'm thinking we used to my one of my friends lived back there. She lives in Hawaii now. But I would always tease her that the Shenandoah for their mountains are like hills compared to ours.
Hmm.
You know,
Oh,
because we have and we've taken Lori up to some of the high lakes here.
uh-huh,
So you'll have to talk about snow.
uh-huh,
Very
uh-huh.
nice. Yeah.
I
Yes.
get sometimes too much snow.
I'm sure that's true. Does Idaho get pretty cold?
Oh
Is
my
it really
goodness.
It
cold there?
depends. We're in the North Lakes. It doesn't we don't get as cold here as they do in Montana.
Mhm.
So it's usually the lowest usually is like maybe zero. Usually in the winters in the 30s,
Mhm.
30s, 20s to 30s. We hate it if it gets below 20, of course, but no, we do get snow. Well, we have some of the largest ski areas in our area. I have within an hour, I think I have four or five ski areas, and Whistler or Schweitzer is one of our largest in the area. It's kind of like a Whistler, if you've ever been to Whistler, Canada. So we have a lot of skiing, snowmobiling, all that kind of stuff
Yeah,
here. So,
yeah.
and we have horseback farms and ranches. I mean, there's hiking, boating, swimming, everything you can imagine. It's a four season area.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
We don't get as much of that in Texas, but we do in Virginia, so I take my kids up there a lot.
Is that so that's where you were raised, your upbringing, and that's why you like to go back there or
I was born and raised
here?
here.
Yeah, here.
Yeah,
Okay.
but my best friends that we met when we were 5 years old in elementary school, and she lives up there with her family and has been up there probably 25 years, and it's my favorite place to go because they're there and because of all the wonderful things we can do together. We go outside in the backyard and we build chicken coops, or we set up areas. Made a bunny run, and we made a little shed for Jace's go-kart so that he'd have a place to keep that. So we've done a lot of building outside, planting flowers, things of that nature there.
Fun.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, you also have a lot of experience with art. What can you share with us about art? Different ways and variety that you've enjoyed theater or museum.
Yes, I have very much. I started going to museums and theater as a child. My parents would take me to those things, and we went to a lot of the Dallas museums. My father and I used to go to the Dallas Museum of Art and the Nasher Museum on a regular basis. We've been to the Kimball. We've been to museums in Houston. I took Andrew to the Dolly museum that they've got in Florida. I've taken him to Santa Fe to see the sculpture and all the other different kinds of art there. I've done the same thing with my daughter. I have just found again that that's another place to deepen the family connection.
Definitely, definitely. Yes, what else?
Oh, and live performances,
Mm.
the theater, the arts, just the arts in general, the theater, musicals, live entertainment with music of different. I mean, just everything from the classical music, which I love, all the way to the more modern, poppy, rocky, the newer country music. I like so much of it, and my kids do too. And like, my son, one of his favorite artists is Frank Sinatra, and he's 27. And we play Frank Sinatra every Christmas along with all the other Christmas music we play, which is another way we enjoy the arts. We listen to a lot of stuff like that together.
Well, a
Yes,
lot of
one.
times people forget that when we say unlocking freedom in nature and arts, it's not
Hmm.
just the visual art like that's behind me. We're
Hmm.
talking about, the music, the people that the actors, the actresses, the music, like you said, there's so many different types of art out there. So you can be creative because when you are creative, it brings something else out, or when you're admiring or looking at the art.
Definitely.
Isn't
And
it
I,
great? Like we have some like inside jokes and quotables from all these plays or musicals that we've enjoyed together. And it
mhm.
just makes our bonds tighter. And we just say an expression and we already know or laugh about what that is. One of our favorite ones is Seven Brides for Seven Brothers
Hmm.
and The Fiddler on the Roof and all
Oh
that.
yeah.
And then it's just so funny when we start singing a song or cracking up a joke or some quotable from the movies or the plays. So that's so
Yeah.
wonderful.
It means a lot to give them memories with us.
I think anytime that we spend time with our kids, grandkids, or anyone, the best way, instead of sitting and just watching TV, unless it's a special movie that you guys both everybody agreed on, is when we take the time and do an adventure together where you
Mhm.
actually do something, whether it's like you said, going fishing, horseback riding, going to the museum, going to the movie. It's the before and afters. It's like you might be going out to dinner first or after, getting just those little things.
Absolutely, yes. And I mean, I enjoyed the car ride over there, just getting to talk to them, and the car ride home, just getting to talk to them. And there's as they grow older, there's less and less opportunities to spend with them. And I've heard any number of parents say how much they enjoy just being in the car with their kids and driving. Like I just took my daughter on a long drive through the countryside this past week just to look at pretty things. And because she was, she had a lot on her plate at that moment. And we just went out and we looked at the trees. We went through a lot of Denton County. They've got beautiful farms there with horses on those. So we have definitely taken advantage of those opportunities.
How wonderful to know that she has that as a refuge, right? In you. A trust sounding board or something where she knows that you guys can get in the car, which is such a wonderful place
Isn't it?
to be in close proximity. I remember this is not, I'm not very proud of this, but I kind of kidnapped my son onto I said, we're not going to go back home until you finally talk to me about this. He didn't want to open up. He was not being happy. He was not making anybody else happy in the household. And we were gonna go somewhere, but then I kept driving. He's like, Mom, where are you taking me? I'm like, I don't know. Where, you decide, how
Yeah,
far you're
yeah,
You
gonna
might have
drive.
driven all the way to Idaho before you spoke.
yeah.
Oh my goodness, it kind of felt like it, but finally he opened up about it and softened up. And that was a memory where I think he realized I'm a safe space. I'm like, doesn't matter how tight and how closed up you feel, there's always mom, right? That
Mhm.
want to be in close proximity with you and not make you talk, but when you make that choice to open up, it's gonna be
Mhm.
okay because it's gonna be safe. I want to say hello to Pam, got Pam watching, and also Sandra Crook. She is wondering if the Nile counts as a place for for her. So I think she's like humbly bragging that
Uh-huh.
she is in Egypt.
Oh,
She close to
Aha.
she's close to the
yes, it
Nile.
does,
And
Sandra. Good
well, there
morning,
you
Pam and Sandra. Good
go.
morning, everyone else
Yeah,
watching.
for Sandra in Egypt, it's almost she's getting ready to go to bed, but it's great to have you watch Sandra, and of course the Nile counts as something for
Hey,
you
I
to do.
want to see pictures posted. When you guys are traveling, we love it when you post your pictures here on our Facebook group page because it inspires others,
Yes.
or especially those that if they can't get outside for some reason, then they'll be able to at least see that and enjoy it. I know Pam had sent me a picture. Pam, post one of those waterfall pictures on our site because it was beautiful. So I love it when you guys share those photos or share those positive quotes that encourage or inspire others. But you don't realize it helps other people or it might hurt. even if it helps just one person in our group or one person on your page, it is well worth it.
Yeah, when we share with each other, and if somebody cannot get to that spot, or somebody else will enjoy it and love it with you. Like, I can't be in Egypt right now, right? So post a picture because I want to just try to imagine that and being there with you. So that will be so great. So Kelly, we love having you. We love your stories. I love the fact that you shifted and you were real and true to yourself when you decided to shift from being an attorney to now being a life coach that helps moms and daughters and families um, get it together and make decisions that are going to help them in life. And maybe with your experience, you can also send a voice of warning saying, mm-mm, I've been there, done that. I've been there doing something that I wasn't very passionate about just to please somebody else in my life that I loved and respected, but it's not the best way. And your own experiences, I'm sure, is going to inspire and have inspired so many already. What can you tell, Kelly, to our audience, to somebody that's on the fence, doing something or not doing what they are,
Meant to be.
their calling, what they're meant to be, and their passion and purpose is? What can you tell them according to what you experienced and you learned with your own journey?
Well, I have learned that a good place to start is to spend a little time thinking about what's making you unhappy with what you're doing right now and where your leaning is. If you'll listen to your inner voice, to what your gut is telling you. And then if you are able to make the pivot, to do the research first before you get into a line of work, because as appealing as some areas of work can sound to us, if we don't know what the inner workings of those are, we can end up in a position of going into something else we don't like. So it's wonderful to do an assessment of at the beginning of what your interests are, your aptitudes are, again, your gaps are, where do you like to see yourself in a certain amount of time, analyze very closely. And I do this with my clients. We'll go through where are you now in terms of your satisfaction in different areas of your life? And where would you like to be? And how do we get you there?
It's sometimes those questions when we have to ponder, then it makes us start realizing it's like I'm one of those that always tells the kids it's money should be the last thing on your list, these graduates and stuff to even think about for career choices. It's okay to take a year or two off after high school before going to college. I'd rather see them go and enjoy the world, experience, do some part-time jobs or volunteer than go into a career or to spend all this time in a career that you don't enjoy. If
Right,
it's not you, it should be about you and your values, what you like and what you want and what you're good at. I mean, there's
right,
a lot to it. And so, in a lot of times, it's like I've gone to graduations, and I'm sure you guys have, where every kid stands up there, well, I'm going to go to this college and I'm going to this college. And then you get that person, that other kid, they'll stand up there, well, I'm not going to college. And just the look on people's faces, like, what? And it's
yeah,
like, who cares? I'm
yeah.
proud of them for not saying, hey, no, I'm going to wait. It's
Mhm.
okay. There's nothing wrong with it.
It's funny because many of them that say that they're going to go to a college, many of them take a hiatus or take a break and do not go there. But the pressure is so that they need to have a place where they need to announce during the graduation. And it's funny, the ones that may already say they're going to a college, they end up not going, wanting to be true to themselves. My mom was a dean at a university, and she witnessed the fact that not everybody is meant for that formal education. There's short careers, there's what are they called to? There's other things people can
There's the
do.
trades,
Trade school, that's what I meant.
somebody
Yeah.
might be better at that. If
Yes.
everybody goes into just like liberal arts just because they want to go to school, um, then you're really not getting the education if that's not your field. We knew so many people that went into like fields to be what do you call it? To be they studied the law and for it to be like police officers or these different things and then never ever used it.
Hmm.
It's like your time is so precious. And I think it was, I can't remember, it was somebody, I don't think it wasn't Steve Jobs. It was somebody said, enjoy your life. You have
Mm.
a wonderful time. Go experience different things right now when you're younger, and even if you're older, if you're not sure and you're not happy where you're at, then take a new assessment. Ask
Hmm.
yourself, what are your values? What am I good at? What do I really want? You, and I was going to also mention this. You two are wonderful moms that your kids can confide in and stuff. But sad to say, there's kids out there or people, even our age, that don't have anybody else to confide in. They don't have family that they can confide in because they feel like they're going to be judged. What do you two say about that?
Lori, do you want to go first or you want me to?
You can go first, Kelly.
Okay. I think we have to develop a little bit tougher skin over what other people think and give it a little bit less weight, and find our own confidence and our own inner voice and try to learn to listen to that. There are a lot of techniques to do that, to help kids. And I was also going to mention briefly that it's taking kids over 4 years to graduate high school, I mean college, on average now. And a lot of them do that because they're changing majors. There's a lot of also pressure on our high school students, even at that young age, to know what they want to do. They're asking kids who are 16, what are you going to be? What do you want to do? And I think that we've got to give them room to think about that and help support them in the exploration of what their interests are and their aptitudes and gaps and all those the values they've got. But I see a lot more now than I did when I was younger. A lot more kids who are making the decision not to go to college. It's gotten so much more expensive for one thing, and it becomes a matter of, is it really going to pay off for me? And I'm seeing, I don't know about you guys, but I'm seeing more acceptance of people's going into the trades, for
Yeah.
example. There's a lot more, and there, you're right. We have got to help our kids find their own path. It's not about, what we want them to be or what we want them to do. It's not about imposing our perfectionism on them and our expectations on them to perform at a certain level or in a certain way.
I love it, Kelly. I totally agree. I love your assessment that you have given that provided the fact that there's so many students already not going to school, taking a break or doing what they love. Or um, I also to not sure, Tammy, if the question also was like what who do they go to? Who do they talk
Yeah.
to if they don't have that person, that confidant? And I love how Kelly also, and then Christine last week, or many other people that have gone through experiences like Kelly did. It was a moment in their life where they decide something major happened, whether that was an accident, this or that, or somebody's health, or a loved one passed, or something like our dear Lanny. They decided to shift because of an external experience. And I think listening to our own voice and also the divine kind of put that seal of approval, like, yes, that's what I've been meaning or wanting for you all along. And you finally discovered it. There's also people that don't even have anyone to talk to or a sounding board. And then that's a great technique. Like talk to yourself. What I did when I was a little girl was talk to myself in the mirror.
I
Or
love
or
it.
talk
Just
to
talk
the
to myself.
animals outside. I do that a lot.
There you go. There you go, like Snow White. And then and then I think also journaling. Journaling is how
Journaling.
of course Tammy knew I was gonna go there, right, at some point. Because it is so healing. We help and studies show that we categorize, we organize our thoughts, we understand ourselves better when we look at ourselves from the outside in. And that's what happens when we journal or we record ourselves in a video or when
Right.
we express ourselves in writing. Another thing is things like this. There's this podcast. We don't know our 600 plus people in our audience, but we hope that through our guests, through our conversations, we have been able to give you guys some words of inspiration, some encouragement that not even your loved ones have been able to give you. So that's
Mhm.
called the power of proximity. Some people
Yeah.
say, I don't have anybody in my life. Well, choose somebody that you admire, whether that's the Kane Minkus is out there, the Tony Robbins, the Dean Graziosi is out there. Tune into their YouTube channel, like Tammy and Lori, right? And now Kelly.
Right.
Tune into their YouTube channel and listen to them. You might not have an emotional
Yeah.
bond with them or a close proximity connection, like you don't know them or you don't know us personally, but you know already a lot about us. You know
Right.
already how much we want to encourage you. And some people have success stories because they listen to somebody like this. They say, "Oh, Tony taught me this." I have a lady. We're calling each other constantly, and we're kind of accountability partners. And she keeps talking about Tony taught me this, Tony taught me that. And she's referring to this coach that she's probably never met in person. And if she has, he's met so many million people, he might not even remember her. And it's not an insult, it's just the reality, right? But she refers to him as someone that she is close to because
Mhm.
of how much potential this individual, this coach, this person sees on each other, because we're all human beings with great potential, and not everybody realizes that. And what we have sometimes around is naysayers, or people that are
Right.
just not doing much, and they don't want you to do much, or if they think
Right.
you're doing a lot, you're like, oh, you're too much, or you're such a
Uh-huh.
dreamer, and they don't encourage you because they don't know how to. So that's my answer.
Well,
And
and then I'm going to throw this out there because this was another thing I was kind of looking forward to see if you two brought it up. Hire a mentor or coach
that's what I was getting ready to say next.
because you just never know. It's just like I got hired by my last client to, besides doing the art pieces, to do design consultation because I do that.
Uh-huh.
And so, and he said it was the bestest. I love it when your client says this. You were the best decision in the entire process
I love it.
because you made
Yes.
everything so much more easy and relaxing. He goes, and when my clients come in into our office, they say, your office is so warm and welcoming.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and that's just with design. But we are here as coaches and mentors. You can hire us. We have programs and
Tammy,
we do the adventures as well, right?
listen to what Renee is saying. He said, since I met you guys, life has never been the same. Thank you,
Ah,
Yes.
Renee. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Renee.
Renee.
You're so sweet.
Oh, and I was
So,
going to mention our August retreat got booked up by 5 teen boys. So,
ah,
so we got it,
we rolled it over.
another one coming over up in September. So,
We're excited about that. So we want you to check out our website and enroll and come and join us, because we have a great time. You'll be so impressed with Tammy's garden. That's the food we eat. Yum. It is just so organic, amazing, delicious. And you're gonna enjoy her property, her space. It's beautiful. So check that out. Renee, you said you were gonna come. So we'll see.
I know he's always so busy. So, but we
I'm
all
like,
are.
I don't
We
even know
just,
where in the world he's at today, but he might let us know. But Kelly, thank you so much for joining us. It's been so delightful. Thanks for your light. Thanks for sharing your experiences with us. Any other words you want to say to our audience as we conclude?
I just want to say thank you for having me, and I hope it has been as good an experience for you guys as it has been for me.
yes, thank
For
you so much.
sure.
We appreciate you. And we appreciate each and every person that's watching today. And we have some amazing coaches and mentors that almost every single one that we've had live, every one of our guests has something valuable to offer. And I hope you picked up their golden little nuggets, which, like Kelly shared quite a few of those here. So I hope you were listening. If not, rewind. And I'll be posting the YouTube video even later so you can share it with friends and family as well. So thanks
And
again for being here. Anything
right,
else, ladies?
yeah, right here in the group, when you watch this replay, ask as many questions as you have or make comments. We love them. We like to reply to your comments. And also, Kelly is inside our group now. And then if you have any specific questions to Kelly, go for it. She'll reply.
All right. Thanks. And hope you guys all have a wonderful week. Get out and go on a nature walk.
Sounds good. I'm
Bye-bye.
going to.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye, y'all.